Yo, what's up, y'all? And then this is my second video on my channel that I'm gonna make. And today's topic is gonna just be about love and acceptance. Um, you know, growing up, growing up mainly Catholic, I'm a fully confirmed Catholic, did, my confirmation, my communion, baptization, confession, did Bible lessons, the whole kit and caboodle. And unfortunately, in the Hispanic community, the LGBTQ community is looked really downly upon. And that's just a matter of fact, you know, and, at least in the culture that I grew up around, it's very, like, masculine. You gotta be a man. You can't really show weakness. You can't really show emotion. And, stuff like the LGBTQ, it makes you vulnerable. And I believe that that's really good. I believe that being able to be vulnerable, being able to be open, and being able to show your emotions is just like one of the most important life skills ever. That's not how I was raised. I was raised to basically not really show any emotion. I'm not really an emotional guy. Even now, I rarely ever show much excitement or sadness or anger towards anything. There'll be rare moments where I feel those things, but that's a reaction to a extreme situation. It's just not out of nowhere, And I wish that I would have been raised a little bit differently on that. I wish I would have been raised, to learn how to be more emotionally vulnerable. Not being able to has, when I first got into my relationship, very difficult to, be open. But as time went on, I learned how to do that, and with time, I learned how to be able to open up about my feelings. And that was a little bit of a side rant. But back to the main topic of the video, it's love and acceptance. What do I mean by that? I mean, everyone has a place. Everyone has a place in this world. And unfortunately, in today's world, even with all the resources that we have, people still hate. And I don't understand why. I want to preface this by saying that racism, homophobia, transphobia, it's not, it's not something you're born with. It's something you're taught. It's something you're taught. You get it from your parents, maybe you get it from your friends or outside media that you consume. You're not born to hate. Nobody's born to hate. We're born to love. We're born to accept. We're born to embrace. It's sad because we actually observe same-sex intercourse in over 4,000 species. And you're telling us that humans are supposed to be this apex level predator, that we're supposed to be this smart species that invents all these cool things, and we're less accepting than a bunch of animals in the jungle? It's sad. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we really just can't accept people for who they are. A lot of homophobia and just a lot of prejudice towards the LGBTQ community stems from religion. And I'm not ultra religious. I'm not some I wasn't raised going to the church every single Sunday, and I only did my Bible lessons only 3 years ago when I was about 7th grade, just so I can do my confirmation, become a fully confirmed Catholic. But again, I don't believe that I don't believe that homosexuality is a sin. I don't believe that homosexuality is a bad thing, not in the religious context and in just, real life. It's a normal thing. I don't believe it's a bad thing at all. I think it's something that we just need to learn as a society to accept and just to love. It really doesn't affect me or you if some guys on the street are kissing. I don't really care. It doesn't affect me. I say more power to you. As long as you're in the parameters of the law, as long as, you're both consensual and you're not hurting each other. That's all that matters. That's all that matters to me. You know what I mean? I could care less. If two women or two guys, or maybe a guy that wants to be a woman or a woman that wants to be a guy, I don't care. You're welcome here. You have a place here, and I accept you. I embrace you. And, I love you. I love everybody. Even the haters, even people that, you know, hate, I love you too, and you're welcome here too. And I don't go around just hating all your life, because that's so unfulfilling. You know, hating others won't make you any more happy. It won't. It'll just leave a sad, dark, empty hole in your heart. You know, instead, open up, embrace others for their qualities. You know, just understand, be more sympathetic, empathetic. You know, I think you're born. Okay, I think you're born with it. I don't think you just all of a sudden, oh, I'm gay now. No, it's something that, you know, you notice even from an early age. You know, I've always liked girls my whole life. You know, I was born to like girls, but some guys that I know that, you know, were my age too, that I knew from elementary school, they've always felt that way. And, you know, I think it's just something you're born with genuinely. And even if it's not, who cares? Even if it's not, who cares who someone likes? Doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all humans. At the end of the day, in 100 years from now, we're all gonna rot in the ground. So why rot in the ground trying to be something you're not? No. Let's be who we really are. Let's be ourselves, man. You know? You know, I go on social media a lot. I have a bit of addiction to social media. It's a bit of a problem. I see a lot of hatred and prejudice towards LGBTQ people, especially now because it's Pride Month. Sorry if you can hear my brother. He's still sleeping in the background. I have to make these videos pretty late because, you know, he goes to sleep pretty late. But, yeah, I mean, it's just sad that I see that, you know, all the time. All the time. I always go in the comments and I see, you know, death to gay people and, you know, frick Pride Month, and it's just disgusting. It disgusts me. It disappoints me to see that. And it's just so useless to hate. It's so useless to do that. Like, what's the point of that? What do you gain from doing that? You don't gain anything. You know, all you get is regret. All you get is hatred built up in your heart. And you get nowhere in life with hatred. You don't get anywhere in life with hatred. You don't get anywhere in life with that. You know, some of the worst atrocities known to man, you know, were committed by hatred. Not love. No, some of the greatest things in the world happen with love. Not with hatred. No, hatred, it kills, it burns, it destroys everything in its path. Love, it builds, it creates, it inspires, it motivates. That's what love does, not hatred. Not hatred. And ultimately, it's the most useless thing in the world. It's the most dumbest thing in the world. Makes no sense to hate, you know, and ultimately, it's dumb. It's just plain stupid. So in conclusion, you know, happy Pride Month. You know, go out there, celebrate y'all. You know, I welcome all people, all members of the LGBTQ community in my channel. Welcome and embrace all y'all, love all y'all. You know, God bless all y'all. And that'll be it. That'll be it. I don't even know what the hell I just said. But that's gonna be it. You know, all power to y'all. You know, let's embrace each other. Let's love each other. Let's stop the hate. You know, God bless y'all. That's gonna be it. Good night, y'all.